Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with game number 1 of Group A of the round of 16 of the Ever OSL from 2004. Because you have to be specific, because Ever sponsored an OSL in 2004 and 5 and 7 and 9. So this is the 2004 OSL sponsored by Ever, and this is a match between Julyzerg, who we just saw there a moment ago on your screen, is going to be the Zerg player, and The Rock. And I'm just going to cut away for a second here real quick to go over the dual tournament format real quick that was used in the group stages of the OSL, because the next 20 games I'm going to be casting are all in this format. So I want to cover it in a little bit of depth real quick once, so that if anyone has any questions, you know how it works. So basically, if you've probably seen this before if you've watched old matches, but you have four players in a group. You have 2 players play against each other, and you have the other 2 players play against each other, right? There's a winner in each of those games. The winners of each of those 2 games play against each other, and then the winner of that, in this case player A on this little graph, advances with a 2-0 record, okay? Then you have the losers of the first 2 matches play against each other, and then the winner of that game plays against the loser of the winner's match in what's usually called the final match. And then that's how you get the second person advancing. So you can see player B lost the first game, won the loser's match, and then won the final match against player C, who came down from the winner's match and advanced with a 2-1 record. Okay, so that's how you get the 2 advancees. And then what happens is, actually there's a little bit of an advantage in placing first, because the 2-1 record player, in this case player A, advances in first, and the player B advances in second. And why that's important is because in the round of 8, player A's from each group will then be matched up against player B's from other groups. So basically you're positioning it so that the best players from each group, the 2-0 players, couldn't meet each other until the semifinals, essentially. And so that's the situation. So in this case, we've got Julyzerg and The Rock playing, and then we've got Xellos and Max playing. And so then the winners of those will play against each other, the losers will play against each other, and then et cetera, et cetera. So then we'll get 2 players advancing. So anyway, let's go back to the game. In the red, down at the bottom right-hand corner, The Rock is known for his name being after The Rock, as in the wrestler, and when he wins games, he actually does some celebrations that are imitating The Rock's celebrations or moves in the wrestling, so it's kind of funny. He's a character. But yeah, in any case, at this point in time, The Rock has the unfortunate situation of having to go up against Julyzerg, who is the reigning OSL champion. So Julyzerg was seeded into this group, and by the way, if you're not familiar with the group selection process, there's 16 players, right? And you have 3 players, the first, second, and third place players from the previous Star League are seeded, meaning that they automatically get into the next Star League, right? So that was Julyzerg, Reach, and Uv were all in this Star League automatically. And then you have a challenge league, which is like this qualifying league, right, to get into the tournament. And Boxer won that, so he is the 4th seed. And so then those basically created the beginnings of the 4 different groups, right? So Julyzerg, Reach, Uv, and Boxer are the first picks for the groups. And then the rest of the players, they actually have this ceremony where the players, and I don't have a video of it, unfortunately, but the players actually pick each other, right? So there's actually an order. So Julyzerg had all those seeds get to the first pick of who they want in their group, and then whoever they pick gets the next pick, right? So Julyzerg actually chose The Rock as his first pick in the group, and probably because The Rock is an easier opponent, if I'm being honest, right? And it's, by the way, do we have a cannon rush going on right now? There's a pylon going on outside of Julyzerg's natural expansion, and there's a pylon on the low ground. Is he going to put cannons on the high ground? This is kind of crazy. He is going to put 2 cannons on the high ground, and this is insane. Is he going to put even a third cannon down? These drones are all rushing at this pylon to try and take it out, and some of the drones are getting distracted by the probe. But this cannon's going to be warping in, and it doesn't actually, because he can actually, the second pylon is going to warp in as well on the high ground. He's putting a gateway down too? What is going on? The Rock is, I mean, this is a case of when you know you're outclassed, you cheese, right? And that's exactly what's going on here. This is really interesting, though. This is like not just like a cheesy build. This is a kind of really smart cheesy build because he has, forced Julyzerg into a really disadvantageous position where he's got the cannons warping in to protect the gateways, and then the gateways, he's not just warping in more cannons, he's actually warping in gateways that are going to be protected by the cannon, and then and another pylon just block things off so there can't be a run by either. Because that's exactly what Julyzerg would want to do, is run by these defenses to try and do a counterattack. And no, is he going to be able to get through? That probe is blocking the gap, and it looks like the Zerglings are going to get through before the second cannon on the low ground warps in. So he gets out 6 Zerglings, and now the Rock might have, and then see now the cannon warps in, and so it's going to be able to defend those other ones. And yeah, I was going to say the Rock is probably building a cannon in his main though to protect against this counterattack. And if he'd blocked that fully, he wouldn't have needed to, because Julyzerg would never have been able to get any forces out onto the map. And so now the Rock is forced to play a little bit defensive, and he's actually putting that gateway there to block the gap between the pylon and the forge. So he's got a better block there, so the Zerglings can't actually get to the cannon. It looks like the cannon's almost warped in. He's killing off the probes. There's one more probe in the way, but the cannon does warp in. And are these Zerglings? He's actually just running the Zerglings by. The probe can't do enough. 3 Zerglings get into his base, and now he's gonna have to fight those 3 Zerglings. The tail that those Zerglings could tell, running by cannons and gateways at their own main, running by cannons and gateways at the enemy natural, and now they're in the main, and he's going to have 3 Zerglings to do a lot of harassment. Julyzerg has the control to be able to do this, but he's going to be able to pick off some probes here, and yeah, this is really tough actually for the Rock, because he's going to have to deal with these probes in his main base. He's producing zealots that he wants to go in and harass Julyzerg, but instead are going to have to run back to his main base to kill off these Zerglings before he loses his main nexus. And you know, it's kind of like he's not actually expecting to get the main nexus, but he has to attack the nexus in order to draw the probes out, so the probes aren't mining because they're attacking the Zerglings. And he's doing some pretty good probe drills here. Yeah, he's not even down on the shields yet, so no significant damage has been done yet to the Rock in this counterattack. Julyzerg has a drone out on the map making a hatchery somewhere. I can't tell exactly where that is. Is that on the right side of the map near? I guess maybe a scouting drone was able to go out and create a base somewhere. And here come the Zealots finally coming all the way back into the main base, and that's going to be the end of this harassment. He can keep one Zealot chasing him around, or both Zealots. I was thinking he could keep a Zealot in his supply line or something like that. And yeah, Julyzerg actually has a hatchery right outside of Rock's main base now too. This is insane. This is insane. This is 2004, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting off the 2004 ever OSL with a bang, with the Rock feeling like he needs to do a crazy cheese, and it's a good cheese, but Julyzerg is just dealing with it perfectly, and he's found it. He's found the expansion base as well with one of his Zealots. There's a colony going down. He's going to try and make into a sunken colony to defend that base, but I don't think it's going to be enough, really. If he sends all 3... Okay, the Lings have been dispatched to the main, so now he can send all of his Zealots over here to kill off this extra sunken colony. Is he going to make another one? And it's morphing into a sunken. It's going to get some hits off, and he's morphing Zerglings as well. That Zealot needs to turn its attention to the Zerglings. And the sunken colony does morph in. It's almost dead, though, already. He's trying to micro, and he does get it. He gets the sunken colony, and then that Zealot's actually going to retreat. I'm a little bit surprised he's not going back. Okay, there. Now he's just rejoining with some his fellow Zealots to come in here and kill off these Zerglings. He's going to be able to target down the Zerglings, and the sunken colony won't be able to do enough damage, but he's counter-attacking out of his main base as well, but the Zealots are in the gap. He tries to run by instead of attacking the cannon, and that's disastrous. He loses several Zerglings. I mean, he had looked like 12, 18 Zerglings built up to try and bust out, but it was just like, he wasted them trying to get out and instead lost a lot. Those Zealots were in a perfect place. He did actually get the low ground cannon, but there's still the high ground cannon, providing extra backup fire if he tries to escape. So Julyzerg is actually just in terrible shape right here. Like, I don't know what he's going to do. How is he going to get out of this situation? The Rock is not untouched, but he hasn't really lost very much. He's lost a few probes. He's lost a cannon. He's lost 1 or 2 Zealots, whereas Julyzerg has lost tons of Zerglings. And, of course, lost the ability to get out of his base, lost drones, he's going to lose a hatchery over there as well. He can't defend the hatchery on the right side map. And he's trying to bust out again with just pure brute force Zerglings, and it looks like he might actually do it, but at what cost? And no, he's not even going to be able to get out. Oh my god. He's just slaughtering, and oh, for some reason Rock actually lets leaves the door open, and these Zerglings are going to get out, and no, this actually could be really bad for the Rock now, because he had that door sealed up perfectly, and he just let it open, and was just like, come on out, and then his other Zealots, which were back in his main, were rejoining the front lines, figuring that they had no other work to do, and so now he's got no Zealots back at home, but I think Julyzerg realizes that he needs to defend his main here more than counterattack at this point in time. Otherwise, he's just going to lose the game outright. There's 1 sunken colony, and there's a bunch of Zerglings. Can he defend against this? It's going to be very, very tricky to do so. He does a drone drill to try and stop up the Zealots. Is there enough Zealots there? There's actually just so many Zerglings. How does Julyzerg have so many Zerglings? He's just producing insane amounts of Zerglings off of just one base, and they're actually going to corner the Zealots and finish them off. What is going on? I have no idea what's going on. The sunken colony lives, doing so much damage. A spire going down, a 1 base spire going down in the background there. I guess it was at 1.2 bases, but still. And now Julyzerg has he still has a lot of Zerglings here. Can he get out of there though? I don't think he can. We're switching into his Rock's first-person view here for a moment, and we do see that he's actually producing a Corsair in the background, so he's continued to get his tech up, and he kind of knows that he just needs to, well, never mind. I thought he was just going to just chill there and just keep producing units, but he's kind of poking out a little bit. He needs to be very careful, because if he pokes out too much and loses those Zealots, he risks letting Julyzerg back into the game a little bit. Julyzerg does have the Spire almost complete, so I think he's probably going to be able to deal with this Corsair pretty easily, but he's at 1 base. And I'm a little surprised Rock is not taking another base off of this, actually. And okay, now I think this probe is going to be doing precisely that. So, yeah, this is insane. Building a cannon in the high ground on his natural, and oh, now actually, so some Mutalisks are out. There's a Corsair in play, and he's going to be able to use that cannon to protect the Corsair. He's trying to build more cannons, more defensive positioning here. I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, no, he loses the Corsair just as the second Corsair comes in, and the second Corsair is not in a good position. He's going to take massive damage on that Corsair, losing all of its shields, so now it can't really come out and harass these Mutalisks very easily. And he's just desperately trying to build as many cannons as he can. And the fact that he's losing these cannons means that he can't actually even build a second Nexus. And he's at least doing a good job of, I think, canceling those cannons and building others. So now he's got 3 cannons on the high ground, 2 Corsairs in play. Julyzerg with just 1 base just doesn't have the gas to actually produce a lot of Mutalisks. And so it looks like eventually we're probably going to see these Corsairs outpace the Mutas, especially because they have these cannons to fall back to. Unless he just puts them in a wrong position and loses them, like it looks like he might accidentally be doing. So he's trying to protect the cannons, protect the warping cannons with the Corsairs, and protect the Corsairs with the other cannons. And Julyzerg is just microing against them. He does kill off 1 Corsair. And is he going to kill off another one? The cannon does warp in, but it's almost dead. He's actually targeting down the cannon, ignoring the 1 Corsair. It doesn't have weapons upgrade, and it's just the one of them. And he does kill off the cannon, but at the cost of all of his Mutalisks. All of his Mutalisks die. And I was about to have to qualify that, but then he actually did finish off that last Mutalisk that did survive. More are coming out, but with 1 gas, he's just going to be able to produce only a paltry amount of units at this point. And the Rock looks like he might be able to cheese his way to victory against Julyzerg, the reigning champion, the person who won the previous OSL in dominant fashion and picked the Rock as an easy mark. to get a free kill in the round of 16 to make sure that he could have a good chance of advancing to the round of 8. And now Julyzerg is pinned in his base, and the Rock has complete control here and is continuing to get his tech going. The one thing that Julyzerg has going for him is that the Rock has been so distracted by all this and has lost enough cannons and other units that he, and look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 12 drones on minerals there. Julyzerg is barely mining. The Rock is finally able to get that second base warping in, which he kind of wanted to do a while ago, but he wasn't able to. And yeah, so now because of the lack of second gas, Julyzerg has not been able to produce a ton of mutas. He's trying to get Hydralisks now, which is good, but the Corsairs have, like I said, outpaced the production of Mutalisks, and now he's got air control, and there's not really a lot Julyzerg can do in this situation. I can't believe Julyzerg he got a drone out, and he didn't take just some hidden base. He actually took the Rock's natural expansion before, and it was caught, and I wonder if that was intentional because he was hoping it wouldn't get found because it was such a crazy place to hide an expansion. Or if it was because otherwise, like when the Rock goes to expand, he's gonna find it really easily, right? So it's kind of like a crazy spot to put it in. But in any case, it took 10 minutes, 11 minutes of play, maybe even 12. But finally, the Rock has established this contain. He's got tons of cannons and zealots. He's got gateways there as well to block. It's just a solid contain. It doesn't seem like there's any way Julyzerg can break out, but he's going to try to. And you can see he's building up Hydralisks with his paltry economy. He's putting all of his money into Hydras now to try and bust out. It's going to have to wait for... Well, I'm sure he probably already has the Hydralisk range upgrade actually at this point. But there's a shuttle out now and a robotics support bay. If Rock can get Reavers up to the front there, it's going to be over. And he's got the Corsairs in the air as well, just patrolling around, making sure that Julyzerg can't get any Overlords on the map. And if you look at the map, you can see that there's no vision on it at all whatsoever for either player. But that doesn't matter as much for Julyzerg. And now for, the Rock. Now Julyzerg coming in here, picks off one cannon, is forced to fall back, losing 2 Hydralisks. And he just can't afford to make these trades right now. Going in here, attacking the Zealots, trying to kill off the cannons. The Zealots are kind of keeping back towards the cannons. Now pushing out a little bit. And actually, this could be disaster if he loses those Zealots. Julyzerg can break this contain. He needs to keep those Zealots within range of the cannons. They need to be extra meat and damage covering the cannons. And that's exactly what's happening. He's trying to break out. The Zerglings are going out. But Corsairs come in the back to kill off Overlords while the Hydralisks are occupied with the cannons. And he kills off a couple Overlords, loses some Corsairs a little bit unnecessarily, but I don't think it matters at this point. The Rock has transferred all of his probes to his second base because it looks like his main is close to mining out. And Julyzerg, luckily, has a crap economy, so he's not going to mine out soon. But it's just, once these Reavers get there, the Reavers behind the Corsairs and the Zealots, it's just going to be too much. I mean, it's just basically one Scarab. One Scarab is all it's going to be. That's all it's going to be needed to do enough damage to the Hydralisks that it's going to be over for Julyzerg. So once this, and I think there might even be 2 Reavers inside that shuttle. Maybe just one, but like I said, it's not going to take too much to break Julyzerg now. The Rock has complete control of this situation, and Julyzerg just doesn't have the economy to do anything about it. It's interesting that Julyzerg has been so scrappy and so powerful that the Rock hasn't been able to break him. He's sent in squads of Zealots a couple times to try and just say, all right, I've got complete control, let's finish this. And Julyzerg is like, no. You're going to have to it's going to take more than that to finish me off. And so he's actually had to get 2 Reavers to go with his forces in order to finally break Julyzerg. How insane is that? The only way Julyzerg stands a chance in this game is if he can get a miracle snipe on the shuttle with both Reavers inside of it. If Rox makes that huge of a mistake... Excuse me, I had to get a drink of water. This game is so crazy. This game is so crazy, I've had to hydrate myself. Imagine that. If he can somehow manage to get a snipe on the shuttle, like, I can see that being a way to somehow... No, even then the Rock is still gonna win. Like for Julyzerg to win, like, the Rock would have to get up from his computer. And even then, he might still win, honestly. Like, if he got up from his computer and then came back in a few minutes, he might still win the game. I just don't see a way back into this. So yeah, so it looks like The Rock is going to take game 1. And going back to what I was talking about before about the group selection, right? So the other 2 players in this group are Xellos and Max. So The Rock actually chose Xellos to be in this group, which is kind of insane, but maybe The Rock favors his PvT. And the other one of the other considerations is that, you know, players are not necessarily picking the best players for them. Sometimes they're playing strategically as well because, oh, and there's some Scourge actually. Scourge could be, he's going to try and pick off the Corsair. He's going to try and pick off the shuttle. No, he doesn't get the shuttle. Doesn't get the shuttle. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, sometimes they're trying not to pick their teammates also. And so, The Rock, I forget which team Rock is on, to be honest. But he might have been trying to pick Xellos in order to avoid picking one of his teammates to be in his group or something like that. Because you want as much chance as possible as you and all your teammates to get as far as you can. And what the heck? Slow Overlord Hydralisk drop? Is it maybe speed is about to finish for the Overlords, and that's how he's going to try and get out of his base? Is by dropping onto the natural expansion and attacking this contain from the high ground where the Reavers can't hit? And there's speed. He's going to do it. He's going to drop the high ground. The Corsairs are out of position. And where is he going? No, the Reavers are there. The Overlords can't die with... Oh, no, the Overlords are getting slaughtered with Hydralisks all inside of them. This is the exact opposite of the miracle that he needed. Oh, God. This is just terrible. Oh, there's GG. Oh, no. There was a moment where I thought Julyzerg was going to pull a miracle out and somehow get a drop on the high ground and kill the pylons, powering the cannons, and defend against the Reavers by being able to kill off the shuttle or something. I just don't know how I could have pulled it off, but that was a very long, slow death that began at like the 3-minute mark when he couldn't kill the pylon with his drones and there was cannons on the high ground, and it was just like... And, you know, I don't think he realized the risk that was going on there, too, because he only attacked the pylon with a couple drones at first, and then maybe he didn't see the stuff on the high ground, so he was like, okay, well, what's going on here? I'm just going to attack with a couple drones because I don't want to lose so much mining time because I overreact to this, right? So I don't know what happened there exactly, but anyway, Rock takes game 1 of the OSL, and I'm just so excited about this. I mean, like I said in that preview video that I did, you know, everyone can be a wild card in this. Even there's so many players that are strong players, but there's also these wild cards that could show some good games as well. So Rock takes game number 1, and so he's going to end up playing against the winner of Xellos versus Max to try and get out of the group. And even if he loses that, he'll have one more chance in the final match. So good on Rock. Julyzerg is going to have to dig himself out of a hole here and have to win 2 games in a row in order to advance and defend his title. Let's go ahead and I'm going to get right into game number 2 of this series between Xellos and Max. So thanks for watching, GG, and I'll see you in the next one.